Loud explosions once again reported from Kyiv. Ukrainian cities under attack and under siege by Russian forces as the world watches in horror. Here's ABC's senior foreign correspondent Ian Pannell. Ian?
Juju, there are increasingly ominous signs that this battle is closing in on many of the cities around Ukraine. At least 5 of them look like they're surrounded or at least semi-surrounded, including the second largest city of Kharkiv. Kherson potentially has been taken. If so, that certainly would be the largest city. And what we're seeing is a change in tactics, really. If in the initial stages, what we saw was a ground invasion, mainly led by infantry, by special forces. What we're now seeing is increasing use of aerial bombardment, often hitting civilian areas. Juju?
Thanks, Ian. It's bombs hitting civilian targets like a university in Kharkiv and various apartment buildings that led the International Criminal Court to announce it was opening an investigation into possible Russian war crimes in Ukraine. As the U.S. warns, the humanitarian cost will only grow.
The bloodshed and body count rising. Ukrainian officials say over 2,000 people have been killed since the Russian attack began 1 week ago.
These aren't military targets. They are places where civilians work and families live. This is shameful.
But a menacing 40-mile line of Russian tanks and military vehicles on the approach to Kyiv seems to be making little progress.
The northern push by the Russians down towards the south, towards Kyiv, remains stalled.
To some extent, they're stuck in the mud.
The reason they're staying on the road is because the ground is wet. It's the springtime, the thaw is coming in, and tanks and wheeled vehicles hate the mud. They bog down in the mud. So it's actually good for the Ukrainians because it makes the Russians easy targets to pick off.
Resistance on the ground apparent. Videos circulating on social media showing hundreds blocking the road to Europe's largest nuclear power plant, forming a line more than a mile long. Plant officials denying Russia's claim that its troops control the facility.
It is the first time a military conflict is happening amidst the facilities of a large established nuclear power program.
It's incredible to see the fortitude and the patriotism of the Ukrainian people to be able to put their bodies without weapons in front of these vehicles to try and prevent them to move forward to take over their country.
Everyday civilians girding for a fight. My colleague Matt Gutman was at a machine shop in Lviv, where it's the sounds of the war effort that get your attention.
We have a guy from IT, an economist, and a mechanical engineer.
Yeah.
And now you're making steel traps for Russian tanks.
Yeah, to stop them.
To stop them.
That hedge of barricades and these spikes, they're weapons of defense. Across town, an art gallery turned makeshift manufacturing site. Hundreds of young people, mostly women, ripping fabric, cutting strips, those fast fingers weaving camouflage.
We are creating nets to hide our military forces from snipers and different Russian forces.
Before the war, Bodana was a college instructor. Now she oversees this wartime workshop.
You will stand in front of the tanks with your bodies.
Yes. I don't want to live in the country under Russia.
It's a different kind of fight being waged in the Children's Hospital of Ukraine in Kyiv. The staff risking their own lives on behalf of the more than 190 kids under their care. Since the war began, many of them are hiding underground in the basement. It's not just the sick here, but the wounded. 13-year-old Vova was badly injured when the family car came under attack. His father and cousin were killed. Now he fights for his life in intensive care. His mother agreed to let us film. She wants the world to see the horrors inflicted on the children.
My emotion, I believe in victory. I believe in maybe in future, tomorrow, maybe next week or next month, I see some in our clinic.
As the war enters this dangerous phase, the refugee crisis only increasing exponentially. 1 million people have now fled Ukraine, according to the United Nations Human Rights Council. For the most part, Ukraine's neighbors welcoming the refugees with open arms, a warm drink and a hug in Moldova. In Slovakia, a chance to watch cartoons, small comforts to ease the pain. But some refugees say they haven't received as warm a welcome. Some non-white refugees fleeing Ukraine have reported discrimination from extremist groups patrolling border zones. My colleague Marcus Moore spoke with visitors at a makeshift refugee center outside a bus station in Korszowa, Poland.
When you left Dnieper, how was it easy to leave there, and how did you get to this point?
Once we were leaving, we were letting the women and the children go. The police in Ukraine, were taking some men. We said, why? How is it possible? You just said only women and children. So now you are taking Ukrainian white people. Why? Are we not people like them?
Pira Diane Tuadi has been living in Dnipro, Ukraine for 9 years. He fled a war in the Congo to come to Europe. Now he's a refugee once again.
What should people know?
Think about people of color, especially black, because it's not easy. It's not easy for us now in Poland. So please, just help us.
The United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees speaking out today at the UN.
At this critical juncture, there can be no discrimination against any person or any group.
So I'm picking up some stranded refugees just right outside the border with Ukraine.
Yet amidst the crisis, some who need help a few days ago now able to turn around and help others.
I don't know, it's fulfilling. I gotta do what I can, right?
Juan Tek, an American teaching in Kyiv, left Ukraine last Friday. The 32-year-old made the difficult decision to flee Ukraine with his wife and 2-year-old son.
We have really good friends who are expecting us in Krakow. And I mean, they're really sweet. They say we can stay as long as we want.
Okay. But encountering miles of gridlock on their escape.
We made it. Finally, we made it.
Now, 3 days after arriving in Poland, Juan is back at the border.
Sasha and Jenny.
This time to pick up another family who's also fleeing the war.
So the day's over, almost. Mission accomplished. I was able to pick up our friends near the border here, Julia and her 2 daughters, Sasha and Zhenya. Very lovely family. And I brought them here over to Krakow. And thankfully, gratefully, we have incredible people like Lisa here. Hello. She's offered her apartment. So yeah, this world is magical, believe it or not. This is how we get together, and you know, everybody has a heart. It's wonderful.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.